Welcome to Rambling Reality. And I know I didn't promise anything last week, but then I promised it in one of my non-podcast podcast. Okay, let's back up on that one a bit. I seem to be doing that a lot to you guys lately. My non-podcast podcast is at ramblingpodcast.tumblr.com. And it's where sometimes you'll find things that don't really fit into a podcast, but I want to kind of push them out there and get someone in there. And they're not flubs or anything like that. Like last week I did one with my fiance, which was pretty interesting. If you guys want to hear us and our weird relationship, I think it's kind of important to know because he's a major part of my life. But this week I'm actually going to talk about something else, even though I really love the guy to death. I'm actually going to talk about the Women's Hockey League. Well, actually, it's the National Women's Hockey League. Sorry, guys. And it's this really interesting league that's come up in the past 6 months where you've got players from Russia, Japan, Austria, Canada, all across America, with most of the concentration being up in the Midwest and Northeast just due to capabilities. I mean, most places like in the South, we don't really have the same rinks. But it's really interesting because I didn't even know about it until Think Progress had this great article called "These Women Are About to Make History" appeared, and I went, oh my god. So, here's what I've been doing the past couple weekends. I've been going to my mom's house at night because broke, poor, fired, need food. But during the day when they have the 3:30 game, I usually watch that. And what I found is it's very interesting watching the way the fans are picking up. They're very enlivened and ready to go, and they're enjoying watching these women who are, being badasses. Like last week, the Boston Pride beat the New York Riveters by like 7-1. Those are some crazy numbers you don't even see in the NHL. I can't even imagine how that game went, even though I didn't get to see it. There are just these great games of fierce pride, and that's the whole reason I liked the NHL hockey to begin with, was watching these men face off with pride. It wasn't about their salaries. It wasn't about the little offsets of the things they get paid money for, the product placements and stuff like that. It wasn't anything like that. It was just the pure pride, and this is what we're going to get. We're going to win. The same reason I used to watch, college hockey when I could catch it on the TV back when I had TV. Same idea. So I'm watching the Women's National Hockey League, and I'm just blown away. Because I'm watching these women create history. For a while, the hashtag History Begins was pretty used on the first week. And it was just amazing because I just realized there are a lot of girls that go to school and they have to quit hockey after college because there was no place for them to go. There was the Canadian Hockey Leagues, which includes that includes lots of them. Hold on. I know, right? I'm just so disorganized. I'm sorry. It was the Canadian Women's Hockey League and the Western Women's Hockey League. But this is different. And the Canadian Hockey Women's League had the Boston Blades. But Danny Ryland wanted to bring a team to New York, and it just wasn't happening. So she and Angela Ruggiero, I hope I said your name right, Angela, I'm really sorry if I didn't, they created a whole new league. It's just mind-boggling. The rest of us are kind of stumbling around trying to find our feet, and these guys found their feet on ice. There's no way I could do that. I couldn't. That's just not my thing. And I mean, Ruggiero is an Olympic athlete, easy for me to say, and she's also in the Hockey Hall of Fame. This is nothing but greatness. Plus, she's a Harvard Law student. I mean, come on. And it was on The Apprentice, but Apprentice. I mean, it's they've literally put together 88 women to create a small but mighty army to make little girls go, oh my god, I can do that. There's a place for me. And it's on, great places. And if you guys want to watch a game, they're usually on Sundays, and you can find them for free. They stream it on YouTube. Watch it. I mean, it's great watching these girls play. So the 4 teams are the Buffalo Beauts, the Boston Pride, the Connecticut Whale, and the New York Riveters. I have affinity for the Riveters, but I don't have any against the other ones either. The Riveters, for me, hold a special place. Because I guess you call her my godmother. It's a long, complicated story anyway. My godmother was a riveter back in the World War II in Atlanta. Like, she actually did that. She helped build the planes. And so for me, the riveters actually have a really deep impact. But that doesn't mean I'm not for the other four, or the other three in the founding four, I guess you should say. I just really, 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 really like the design on those. But what's interesting is you can see the Buffalo Buttes, and you think, oh, it's about their beauty. It's actually not. Butte, Buffalo Butte, anyway. And the Boston Pride has got this great scratch mark that looks like claws. It looks like cat claws. It just went whoosh. Probably not cat claws. It's probably bears or something, but I think it looks like cat claws, so cat claws. And then you've got the Connecticut whale, which are actually, there's a history to the Connecticut whale and in the area, and so there's a lot of pride, not just in Boston, but there's a lot of pride in choosing what they chose. They chose to stand out. They chose to make their mark, and they showed to highlight what makes them awesome. So the founding four are pretty much in the New York City area, I guess you'd call it. They're in that area in part because a lot of these women are only getting paid very small salaries to do this. Like really small, not livable salaries. And so their bosses and their employers and, they've arranged for the people they work for or the people that they're working and the other people, working under them. They've arranged it so they can go and do this season and do the inaugural season, and it's just amazing that people are willing to put up all this stuff for something that women have been asking for forever. Like, I enjoying hockey in like 2012, and I remember like all the time women were asking about more hockey leagues for women because we're like, we want to get paid too. Hello. We want some of that money. We want to put our money where our mouth is. And speaking to that, there actually is merchandise for the teams, but right now it's only jerseys, and they're kind of pricey at over $60. But if you join the Insiders Club, you will get a 20% off discount. I personally have been pushing for stickers. I want stickers so I can put them on the back of my car. I want to promote it, and I want to promote it in a big, loud way every day. But that's just me. I think if the league were to, kind of expand the idea out, they'd probably find a lot more, because a lot of people don't have $60 in their back pocket right now, especially women. We are paid less, and we are finding less jobs right now. So it would be nice if we could support it in something that we can afford. It's a really nice concept, though, of just being able to turn on the computer and go, oh, I know that. Look at that. And, there's a whole bunch of people that I'm going to give you to follow in just a few minutes, but just some basic other stats. So the Boston Pride and the Connecticut Whale are undefeated. The Pride are strong competitors, by the way. They beat the Riveters 7-1 last Sunday. Let that sink in. You don't even see that on NHL games very often. And the Buffalo Buttes and the New York Riveters have lost 2 each, so they're kind of behind. Oops. But they can catch up. I mean, there's 4 teams. It can happen. But what's really interesting is the way that they're playing. And, Amanda, I'm going to try and say this name right. She's Amanda Michaela, is from on Buffalo Buttes, and she was speaking to the WNHL when she was signed. And she goes, I'm excited to play in the NHL because it's an opportunity to be a part of history. It's such an honor to be a part of the inaugural season of the first paid professional league of women's hockey. This is a huge step forward for women's hockey, and I hope we can grow the sport by inspiring girls around the world. Doing this in Buffalo, which is a great hockey city, will be special. And it's true. New York and that whole Northeast area is just full of hockey. Like, it's just hockey central. If I was not, trying to go other countries, I probably would look into that. Because I actually looked into going to Albany, moving to Albany for jobs just because there was a bunch of hockey around there. I'm saying. And I'm a West Coast fan, by the way. Let me repeat. The Kings are my group most of the time. But, all that hockey. It's like hockey heaven. Anyway, she's got a point. It is. And, she's not the only one. There's also Jenny Scrivens, who is playing goalie for the Riveters, and she's kind of got this snarky, badass personality on Twitter, and she's kind of got like this great humor. You know, NHL goalie Ben Scrivens is really lucky to have him a wife that's that daggum smart. Let's be very clear about that. I mean, he's really lucky, and I'm really, really glad that he encouraged her to do this, because I think it's not just for us as a fulfillment. I think it's something that it allows these players to have a dream and allow it to come true. Like Gabrielle Figueroa. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit off on that one. She made a really good point. You know, she was like, I never expected to be on NHL Network and MSG, and she was on both. That's life changing. Can you imagine the confidence that comes from that? Of reaching something that you didn't know you could have, and it's right there, just you're there. I think that's such an amazing message for little girls. And it's good for teenagers, and it's good for women, and it's good for, you know, that are in their early 20s and 30s, middle-aged, aging. It doesn't matter. Like, it's important, I think, to have this tangible thing and say, we are worth being paid for our product. You know, Jennifer Lawrence the other day was talking about how she didn't ask for so much in American Hustle, and it kind of cost her, and she was really mad at herself. And everyone was like, why? And I understand what she's saying. She's saying she gave up something in order to passively let something go. And I think that's really important, because this league is proving that is not necessarily has to be done. No, you won't make a lot. You're not going to make, Shea Weber's his salary, but that's okay, because that's not the point. The point is that you are making your way, you're creating a system, you're being a good ambassador for the future. You're setting up this amazing talent. And I think that's really important, and I'm glad that that's part of the foundation's goal, because not only does the foundation support the players and everyone else, because it's really small. Like, the teams have I think a $280,000 cap for 22 players. Not exactly NHL levels of, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. But it's really interesting the way they do that, because I think it also makes it easier for the teams to coalesce and not have to be traded because of table limits and stuff like that. I think that it's really smart, and I think it's a really bright idea. As for, what they can do anything, and they're inspiring girls to do anything. And I don't know, I guess as a girl who wanted to be into sports but didn't really like, softball, I was much harder as a fan of anything that was just it wasn't active enough for me. And I was not getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning for a practice that I didn't believe in. So I wasn't really into it. But if I had been exposed to things like hockey as a little girl, oh my God, you would not be able to get me away. Ever. Nope, wouldn't happen. Never gonna happen. It is what it is. I'm much more bloodthirsty. There's a reason why people think that I'm like a tree trunk when I plant my feet. I'm super dense. I may be heavy, but I'm the densest. Like, I've got so many muscles, and it's just needless to say, you look at me and you don't think it, but I am. I can leverage. Let's put it this way: I can leverage my 6'1", I think he said it was like 170-pound fiance at the time, on my back, just bending over. I could just leverage him straight across, and he'll tell you about that. He's actually pretty proud of it. I'm kind of impressed too, especially since I'm only 5'1". But the point is there's so much for little girls to look at and see and do and be a part of, and it's amazing to me. Like, I know I keep going back to that, and I'm sorry. And I know that I'm rambling. I'm actually living up to the name. But for me, it's such an important figure in a time when women's rights are being stripped and then altered, or funding for things like Planned Parenthood are leaving. There's all these things that keep us safe and keep us together as a gender, and they're being stripped away. And then you have this one thing that like no one even knows about, but it started already. I mean, there's a hockey league like paying people. And Think Progress's article was probably one of the most enlightening things I probably could have read. And I think what really stood out to me the most was the fact that, Danny Ryland is 5'3". She's a former collegiate player. She's a co-founder, the commissioner, and the general manager of the Riveters. I mean, there's a lot she's doing. And as someone that's worked in volunteering in sports, that's a lot of hats. I do administrative assistant work voluntarily at the American Legion Baseball in Georgia, and it is a lot of action. It is a lot of movement. It is a lot. I mean, there's just always something going on. And to be so deep into understanding that and having to maintain 3 different hats, because co-founder and commissioner are 2 different things. And then you've got the general manager, and you have to make sure the general manager does not interfere with the commissioner. So there's so many different roles that she's doing, and I'm proud. I just think it's not that big of a deal, and yet it is. And according to the Think Progress article, the NWHL, which is a Canadian Women's Hockey League, is considered pro, but it's not paying its players or providing their needed equipment. The NWHL, the WNHL, sorry, too many letters. They're actually doing it. Like, they're providing this equipment. They're providing this stuff. They've got the capital. They've got the investment. They're doing it. And people are on board. Like, businesses are like, oh, wait, if I do this, I'm on the right side of history. There's a message for many different organizations, many different movements, many different elements that need to say that. You have to be on the right side of history. I've heard it on Twitter for multiple things, and I think this is definitely on the step in the right direction. I think it's amazing. And, Ryland told the Think Progress that it all transpired faster than I imagined. I can imagine. I mean, like, 6 months, you've got an entire league. You've got teams. You've got all this kind of stuff on there. I mean, and you've got people that are in, like, they're competing for spaces in the Olympics. I mean, that's a huge deal. So I cannot wait to see what happens with the overall league. And I'm trying to promote it. I'm trying to push it. So if you see it on my Twitter, which is at Jessica Hannon 81 all the time, roll with it. Just roll with it, because it's definitely an important thing. And I want you guys to kind of pay attention too. Join in. Like, who are you following on Twitter? Like, who is your thing? Like what are they? So I'm mostly following a few people just because right now my list is so long because I have so many different projects going on right now. But right now I have the official one, which is NWHL_. You have to pay attention to that underscore. And that's the official league Twitter. Danny Ryland is DANIRYLAN. And she's the commissioner, as I mentioned. The NY Riveters, which is RIVETERS, is the official team Twitter for that. The Buffalo Buttes, which is the Buffalo BUFFALO, BEAUTS. The whale is a little bit more complicated. It's CT whale _ NWHL. And the Boston Pride, Jenny Scrivens is Jen Scrivens, which is JENSCIVS. And she's, the goalie for the Riveter. She's a badass. Like I said, Ben's a very lucky man. And then you've got Gabby Figueroa, which is GABIEFIGUROA. She's a goalie. She's constantly on there. And then there's actually some people that are doing things like beat writers and stuff for it. And so one of the ones I found was Kate Criminy, which is K_CIMINI. And she's a beat writer for today's Slapshot. We're not pulling for any of the same NHL teams, But I'll hold that against no one because, not everybody can like my Kings, even if they're being a little weird. I'm a West Coast girl, even though I live on the East Coast, not my thing. Anyway, those are some names. Like, who else are you doing? Like, who are you following? Who are you paying attention to? Who are you going, okay, that's a really, really good source. Like, keep it. Like, I want to know these things. Like, this stuff, it gets me so excited as a woman. And I want us to go over that sort of stuff. And I just want you guys to tune in. And I want you to watch a game. And I want you to see what happens when history begins. Alright, guys. I'm probably going to end this. I should have another podcast fairly soon. I'm not sure when. It just depends on what I get stuff doing. Because I've got to get my scholarship ready for Germany, and that's coming up close, and I need to know what to do on that. If anybody has any information about how to write a reference letter for the Deutsch Academic Exchange, that would be great.